So the other day, I was in a conversation with a few different people, and one of the people in this conversation said something to the effect of, "I think that mindset is a waste of time. All you really need to do is push the buttons that you know you need to press, and your life will change." And although I agree with what he's saying, I think what he was really thinking about was motivation. I think mindset is absolutely crucial. I think when you're in the when you're going about your day and you're pressing those buttons, that requires a little bit of willpower. It requires you most of all to identify as someone who pushes those buttons. So when I say he was probably thinking more about motivation, I agree with a lot of what he said because there's a lot of talk, period, where people tell you what they want to do. They'll tell you about their dreams and the things they want to accomplish, but without any action. And it's not enough to have a goal. Obviously, everybody knows that, but we get this kind of false dopamine hit to tell people about what plans we have and what things we want to achieve, what things we're going to achieve and we've been told that, the more you talk about something, the likelihood that it's going to happen, and part of that is true, but not when you're only holding on to that view when the motivation arises. And I had to provide him a little bit of pushback because I told him, I was like, think about this. Think about how many people, and this is just one example. Think about all the people that go up on stage at like a bodybuilding competition that never win, even though they might have had the absolute most dialed in physique. You might think that these competitions are pretty objective and easy to pick out who's the winner. But we wouldn't have upsets in that industry or in other industries if confidence didn't have so much of a play and so much of a play so much of a factor on reality. Because you could have two people come up on stage, both absolutely looking amazing. They put in all the work. They dialed in on their diet. They did all the right things to make sure they brought the best package. And one of those people did have the best package. The other person was slightly worse or not slightly not as good, but that person won. Why? Because they packaged the package in confidence. They wore it better. Like and you can attest this, just think about it in your own life. Not just, with bodybuilding competitions. Well, that's like the most obvious place where I can think of right now. But I did sales for a long time. I did sales for a long time, and what I noticed is that the salesman that made the most money, that got the most sales, was the one that was the most confident in themselves. It's never because he had the better deal. It was never just about a good deal. It's, does the customer trust you? Do they believe that what you're saying is true? Not only that, more importantly, are they convinced that that you believe what you're saying? And so confidence, like mindset, has to come first. You could be pushing all the buttons just like this man said. You could be doing all of the right things. You could be following protocol just as you planned. But if your attitude is off, if your mindset is off, if you don't believe that you deserve to win, if you don't believe that it's time for you to get that it's your time, if you don't believe that when you walk into this meeting that your product or your service is undeniable no matter what happens, it's just not going to go in your favor. You're not because it wasn't supposed to, but because that product, that service didn't get the right confidence behind it to sell it. I'm thinking of like insurance salesmen, and it's something I've kind of been thinking about doing because it's something that people need. It's one of those things like you buy it once and you have like a premium every month or however often they pay for it, and you don't need to change it. You don't, the likelihood of of the customer needing to change their insurance policy is absolutely slim, as opposed to like car sales, which is what I used to do. Car sales is a little bit different because when people buy cars, they're holding on to them for at least 2 years, maybe even longer. And you don't see them again. Some of them only bought the car from you because of the product you had or the deal you had, and they couldn't care less about your service. The crazy part, and then I'm kind of contradicting myself there with that point because I just told you that confidence matters more. I've sold many a car that customers didn't think they were going to buy. They came in wanting a certain product, but they left with a different one. Why? Because I built a case for this other one. You know, sometimes we wouldn't have the car that they wanted. I wouldn't always have the car that they wanted, but was I just going to tell them, okay, we'll see ya? No, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to ask them questions like, okay, why did you like that car in the first place? Okay. Let me show you some other things that are similar to that. That wouldn't always work. Where at the dealership that I would work at, where this worked the most was when they couldn't get the car that they wanted because the car cost too much. They weren't willing to pay what that car required. And I'm not, in some cases I wasn't surprised. Like these cars would be very expensive. And if they came in wanting like a $350 car, but the payment on the car that they wanted was $600, it didn't take too much for them to realize, okay, if I had a level-headed customer, they'd understand, be like, okay, what can I get for this amount of money? And I would start showing them some other options. But always my interactions with people, the way I presented numbers went 10 times better if I believed in what I was saying. And that only came with a mindset that's built obviously through habit and discipline. But I would venture to say that discipline is the mindset. You are somebody who identifies as a person who is disciplined. You are somebody who has non-negotiables because you understand that the person that you are is someone that does these things. You're someone that does these things. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no I'm trying to become. It's I am. I am an early bird. I go to sleep early so that I can wake up refreshed and serve to the best of my ability. So it's always the self image, it's always the self identity. And that's the only reason I ever talk about affirmations. Is not for the fun of it. It's not to get you to feel okay about your life or to get you to escape. It's to get you to realize that the life that you want is on the other side of the person that you are. Not that you are becoming, not that you're becoming. I know that goes against what a lot of people say is like, no, it's like it's all in the journey. Absolutely, it's in the journey. But when you're in the journey, you're not thinking that. You're not thinking of, oh, like, I enjoy the process of getting there. You're not actually thinking that. What's happening is you already believe that you're there. So what you're doing is not even a second thought. What you're doing is already part of that reality that you've constructed as part of your self-image, as part of your self-identity. And your self image is what attracts all the things that you want. It's what attracts the opportunities. It's your self identity, who you identify as, that literally dictates how people treat you because how you see yourself is how the world's going to treat you. This has never been not the case. All of my experiences in life, I'm almost 30 years old. And in those 30 years, only 10 of those years was I actually consciously aware of the fact that my beliefs, like how I felt about myself, about who I am, had a direct correlation to the results that I was getting. So with that, I'll go ahead and end the video there. But yeah, if you're watching this, I appreciate you tuning in. Um, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Stay strong. Have a good day. Bye bye.